And so by having that final opportunity of having solutions, especially like solutions that are attainable on a small scale, is something that should empower students. Yeah, my name is Matt Sahagun. I teach physics at Woodside High School in Woodside, in the Sequoia Union High School District. I teach mostly freshmen. So one of the motivations for me joining SMELC was the change in standards. So California went from like our STAR test to the new NGSS standards. And so that's going to incorporate a fair amount of Earth and space science into our physics course. And we've been thinking about how to do that for quite some time. One portion of that is like, how do we produce our electricity? And what impact might that have on the environment? So the choices that we as humans make have an impact on our surroundings. And how to actually teach these more NGSS styled units and topics is something that I was not trained in, something that I struggled with. And I looked for a program to help. I was excited about SMELC because it provided me an opportunity, a ready-made curriculum that I could adopt for my own classroom. And that was my motivation for taking part of the energy unit last summer. So yeah, the SMELC Fellowship gave me an opportunity of to see what the unit could look like, as well as gave me some thoughts about different strategies I can take to kind of mold it for my classroom. And this year, so we're in, I implemented the unit in 2020, so in fall of 2020. And a hook was readily made because of our environmental catastrophe. So I don't know if you remember the day in orange that hovered over Bay Area and the crazy wildfires we had. But that's kind of a ready-made hook in terms of trying to bring the science into students' lives, because they were invested in it, they were living through it, and they were very curious about it. So I remember questions. The day in orange was on Wednesday, so I remember questions on Thursday about what the heck was that? Especially since we had just studied light. I think we were in the process of studying light, and so we were wondering why was everything orange? And so that created a ready-made hook. So to talk about wildfires in California, and then I just needed to adopt what we had learned in SMELC. So SMELC Fellowship was very, very kind in terms of, again, treating us as students and being able to see what the curriculum might look like in the student viewpoint. And then I was able to adopt those materials for my own class. And again, students were invested because, again, they're living this. They're living through an environmental catastrophe, which was like unit one of this SMELC unit was with talking about energy production problems. So that was the first part of the unit, and then we talked about solutions as well, and students were able to design their own small, minor, household level solution to help minimize carbon emissions. And that was exciting to see what students would do. I wasn't exactly sure, as I gave students a variety of options to choose from, including the opportunity for them to come up with their own ideas. So options could range from emailing a previous principal in terms of how about rebates for solar panel and how that might work in terms of your school, or doing an inventory of all the lights in your house and seeing which are incandescent and seeing if you could switch to LED lights, as well as the costs of that. And so students I think they were able to choose something that interested them, and they were able to choose something that, connected with their lives, something that they experience, especially as a lot of students chose a solution that involved how they live, how their home lives, how their home uses energy. In terms of student empowerment, I feel like, again, whenever I had heard of a climate unit I've always experienced it in terms of just focusing on the problems. This stuff's happening, we need to do this, otherwise this is going to happen. Really focusing on like the negatives, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. You end up leaving these professional development events just really depressed. So I think one of the things that SMELC did well was like having that final topic, that final unit focusing on solutions. So the idea is of students becoming solutionaries, right? And so by having that final opportunity of having solutions, especially like solutions that are attainable on a small scale, is something that should empower students. And I also appreciated previous case studies of like environmental solutions that had been successful in the past, because that gave some context as, yes, we can make changes. And SMELC was very good about having some historical background in their unit, which I was able to adopt as well. So yeah, I think having students come up with their own solutions, even minor, certainly empowers them. What's next for me? Well, I definitely want to run through the unit once more, using just lessons I learned and wrote about in my reflection. I always write reflections that I wrote about in my reflections. And we'll see what students come up with. And this summer, I'm kind of extending this out. I'm doing like a internship at a Stanford lab that's trying to focus on having single family households, providing them information about like hourly electricity use and focusing on curriculum to help them change their habits. And I think with a focus on middle school students. But I think I'll be working on that summer and hopefully trying to incorporate what I've learned and any tools that I see or help develop into my own classroom as well. So this unit will not go away. These problems that we have are not going to go away anytime soon. And so I can continuously incorporate it every single year in my lessons. I don't see no reason why not to apply. The fellowship was very well run, including like a completely online situation versus in person. So I'm sure that change happened last minute. But the program is very well run. The unit was well written and they kept on refining it. So they continuously refine it, it seems. Even throughout this year, I was able to contact the leaders and was able to get some updated documents as needed, which was very nice. Yeah, it's a nice unit. It provides you different ways of thinking about the concept that you haven't had before. And it's not time intensive, like 1 week, and that's nice. It works quite well for my schedule.